Good afternoon, children. Here is your social studies teacher, Mrs. Sumati, with continuation chapter 8.3. That means chapter 8, Impact of Technology on Livelihood, part 3. I am going to teach now. And now I am starting Decline of Handlooms. Decline of Handlooms. Actually, if you see that, one important, mostly visible point that handlooms were declined. How we can say as per this matter? You see that in 1988, at that time, there were 33 lakh handlooms were there in different states. But in 2009 to 2010, in between that time, this has come down to 24 lakh units. Means 33, it's became to 24. Means 9 lakh units were reduced here. Here, one of the table it is given and how many numbers of the handlooms in each state, how it's declined during the last 2 decades. That means last 20 years. So, however, handlooms have found a new market in traditional fabric and designs. Even though what happened, handlooms have continuing that as a new market they have, that is the traditional fabric and designs they have, as per that it is continuing. With increasing government support and subsidies, they are able to survive despite the competition from the power looms. Actually, government is providing support, subsidy to them, so they are able to continue their work even though they have a competition from the power looms. Here, change in number of handloom units. Each state it is given, and in the year 1988 how many handloom units are there, 2009 how many handloom units are there, it is given. And those also, suppose in AP in 1908 the handloom units are 5,29,000. In 2009 1,24,700. It's a declined almost maximum. At the same time, you can see that in Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Punjab, Tamil Nadu, all these areas in 1988, the handloom units are more. If you see as per 2009, the handloom units are decreased. But overall, if you see that in 1988, the largest handloom units are there in Tamil Nadu only. At the same time, in 2009 also, largest handloom units are there in Tamil Nadu. You see, where is the number more? Here it is the next number. So, this is the largest number. So, Tamil Nadu only largest handloom units in 1988 and 2009. At the same time, if you see that Punjab, as per the 1988, less units are there. Even as per 2009 also, less units are there. So, Punjab is the actually lowest number. Okay, the Punjab is the lower number of the handlooms in 2009 and 1988 also. As per the table, we come to know that how much the handlooms were declined. One of the report was given according to the handloom production and the powerloom production. As per the report, you see, handloom cloth production was 877 square meters of cloth, and powerloom cloth productions were 5,896 square meters of cloth is there. So here, if you see that the amount of cloth produced per worker in powerlooms is about 6 times. That means here 877. If you compare that ratio, this is 6 times better than or higher than the production of handloom cloth to powerloom cloth is 6 times higher in the powerlooms because of use of mechanized technology. Because of the change of technology, its improvement is there. So, this is also tells us why powerlooms were increased during the last 50 years in India. Within the 50 years, powerlooms were increased and handlooms totally decreased. This is about the production of cloth only we can identify. But there are certain problems are there for the workers in powerlooms. Actually, what are the problems? power loom is better than hand loom, but mills are far better than the power looms. Compared to mills and power looms, the power looms pay a very low salary, while mills pay workers monthly salary. Mills are paying monthly salary, power looms pay that a very low salary, or maybe piece-wise salary, how much cloth they produce, as per that they may get the amount. But in the mills, workers in power looms, in the workers they'll get that monthly salary. But workers in power looms are paid on piece rate, means as per that how much they produced on that day, as per that they will get it. There is no obligation for power loom units to provide health care, pension or other social security provisions. Actually, in the mill, they have all the provisions. They'll provide health care, pension also they provide after the retirement, and otherwise education for their children, or any profits are there, so some incentives, bonus, and those all they may get it. But here in the power loom, they don't have such facilities, that is health care, pension, other social security provisions are not there. If there is any power cut in the power loom, the workers are not given the salaries also. In mills, workers from the trade unions. Actually, more workers are there in the mills, so they can form trade unions. That means unions, that is for the benefit of their workers, they fight for them. Means they'll be united when the problem arises for one worker also. And employers have to negotiate with the trade unions for fixing the wage rates, for fixing of the salaries, or maybe any other provisions, whatever it is. The trade unions and employers means the owners, sit together and they make a negotiation. As per that, they'll fix that. So trade unions do not exist in most power loom clusters. Actually, in the power looms, the trade unions are there because this is the smaller unit. That's why they don't have trade unions. But in the mills, more workers are there. It is larger, so trade unions are there. One study of a power loom cluster reported in 2008. One of the persons studied the power loom cluster, power loom. As per in that 2008, the report it is given, food insecurity, means food also insecurity is there. Malnutrition means proper food they are unable to take because of the low salaries. Anemia, that means when the iron content is less in our body, it is called anemia. It causes action. And other health related problems also they are getting, that is tuberculosis, asthma, and gynecological illness, and among women, actually that gynecology problems among the women also they are getting, and houselessness, and a high dropout rate among children are some of the common challenges confronting power loom workers. That means dropout rate among children, high dropout, because they are unable to go to schools and all. So as per the power looms, if you see that all those health problems, mostly women also getting the health problems. Houselessness also among the children. At the same time, dropouts also there among the children because they are not studying and they are going for the work. So these are all the problems. Means actually those who are working in power looms, their children, because they cannot pay, they cannot make the child to study. So these problems they are getting when the workers are working in the power loom. But those who are working in the mill, these problems are not there. Maximum they will be get many facilities. Technological changes in service sector. Actually, in service sector, what are the changes we are getting? Actually, technological changes also affect the service activities. The services include activities that support agriculture and industries. You know that service means those who are providing their uh, work, their service to the areas, wherever maybe in education institutions or maybe hospitals, transport, communication, and banks. These are all providing their services. So these services are including activities. These are supporting the agriculture and industries also. Even agriculture also, agricultural laborers are there. Even industries, many workers are there. These are all providing their service service in those areas. For instance, if cotton is cultivated, it needs to be transported to nearby towns for the sale. Actually, example, suppose cotton is cultivated, that plucking and all completed, and it should be transported to the nearby town. Or if cloth is to be produced in a power loom, yarn needs to be transported from spinning mills. And actually nearby towns to transport, they need the lorry or truck or whatever it is. So here they need service of the driver and the lorry. Or if suppose the cloth is made, if cloth is to be produced, to make the cloth in a power loom, they need the yarn. Yarn means thread. So that yarn needs to be transported from the spinning mills. Actually from the spinning mill the yarn is ready, and that yarn should be shifted to cloth industry. So for that also transport is necessary. So they are providing their service through transport. All the trading activities are also called services. Whatever the trading is going on, those all activities also comes under service activities. See, these are all service sector people, actually doctors, businessman, or maybe architecture, or maybe mechanic, or clerk, or whoever may be. These are all, mostly they are providing their service. So because of their services, others are getting, of course, utilizing their service, and without these services no one can't be. Actually whatever the industries and agricultural activities producing that product, we can see it, we can see that commodity, we can see that good, but service sector, we can get the service but we cannot see that service. Actually we cannot feel that good, we can see directly. Okay. Services also include essential activities that may not directly help in the production of goods. Here you see that services are actually compulsory, it is necessary, but that may not directly help to produce a good or to produce a commodity, it can't help. But for example, here it is given, you see, we require teachers, doctors, lawyers, and those who provide the personal services such as washing clothes, cutting hair, making shoes. That means cobbler, who is that, cutting hair means barber, washing clothes means dhobi. These are also they are providing their services. Here teachers are providing their teaching as a service. Doctors are providing the treatment to the patients, that is their service. Lawyers are taking a case, and for that case they are working in the courts, that is their service. So we also need people to do administrative and accounting works also, and to work in the banks. Actually in the banks also they are providing their service, and mostly administrative work and accounting works and all those, these are all providing their services. Change in technology makes communication faster and easily available to all. How the technology changing? You see, Dharam Vinod is an elderly businessman in Karimnagar. Actually, in the Karimnagar, he is a businessman. He has been running an automobile shop for more than 35 years. So he sells all kinds of spare parts. Whatever it is necessary for the automobiles, he is selling the spare parts. He had a landline phone in which he used to book a trunk call. Actually, before we used to have a trunk call. Actually, we also don't know. When we are the child, our childhood time, we know that it is a trunk call for talking to people outside the town. And at that time he has the landline, no, as through that landline also they have to book it so and so time, as per that trunk call booking is there, they have to wait for that other person to speak with them. he had to wait on the queue till he gets the connected. He has to wait for queue till to whom he make a trunk call to call that person whom he wants to talk, that should be connected. So the person, that means Dharam Vinod, has to wait. Sometimes the person whom he wanted to talk to could not be contacted. Sometimes this may fail, he is unable to contact with him. If there was any problem in the line, suppose, that means telephone line, if any problem or in the mission, he had to wait for weeks to get it to be repaired. Means at that time, such a mechanics or the work is not provided in such a way. Times have changed now. Now that landline also we have from the houses afterwards, before from the shops, but afterwards from the houses, afterwards now mobile phones, and those also within the seconds it's reaching all that information or the calls, whatever it is. So now mobile phones have come into use, so he contacts any person whom he wants to talk easily and immediately. Before it's used to take the days of time, many days used to wait, but now within the minutes or seconds it's completing immediately. And he uses the mobile for ordering the material, inquire about the prices, stock, delivery, when they are going to provide that material, or how much stock they have, what is the cost of that product, how many materials they have, or how many pieces they have. These are all he is contacting. As per that, he is booking that, getting through shop from the shops. Now he can get the details of his business easily. Before it took that more time, now it's became very easy to continue. Besides personal calls from his family members, of course family members are calling, personal calls, even friends and relatives, many automobile workshop owners also contacting him and on his mobile phone to know whether he has the specific spares. Actually he is also have that uh, so the parts, some spare parts shop now he has. So what are the spare parts he has from his relatives, or the some of the automobile workshops also they ask the spare parts from him. For that also they are contacting through their mobiles. In case he does not have any spares, he speaks to other shops. Suppose he doesn't have, he can speak with other shop owners and collect from them, and he supplies to them who wants that. So this helps him to retain his regular customers. If he is providing in such a way, regularly those who are coming to his shop, they continue to his shop. So this mobile phone is helping to him. Many mechanics from far away villages and towns also contacting him. Many of the mechanics from his town, long distance, they are also contacting him. In olden days, when he ordered some materials from Hyderabad, he was not sure in how many days he could get the material from Hyderabad. Olden days, that means he booked a trunk call and those, it took more time. But now he contacts even the driver of the vehicle, which place he is there, how far he reached, and which the order materials are being transported, through which way he is coming, how far distance he is there. Like that he can contact the driver also. India's telecommunication network is the third largest in the world. Remember children, our telecommunication service in the world, it is the third position. So third largest in the world. See, this is the service sector. You can take it as a call center or software center. Of course, telecommunication, how it's developed, you can. Nowadays, it is so easy to contact anybody through the phone. You know that you can use your landline phone or your mobile phone, you can contact easily. But this was not so till the 1990s. Before 1990s, it's very difficult. But after 1990, it's become very easy. Only landlines were available and provided by the government till the 1990. All over India, the mobile phones have grown from 50 lakh subscribers. Throughout India, mobile phones have increased 50 lakh subscribers in 2001 to over 92.9 crores subscribers by May 2012. You see, Within the 11 years, so much development. 2001, it is 50 lakhs of the members used the mobile phones. But as for 2012 May, 92.9 crores of the population is using the mobile phone. Of course, now it is 2021. You can imagine how many of them they are utilizing the mobile phone. The mobile connections are 20 times more than landlines. Nowadays, landlines, many of them, they are not interested. So, those mobile connections were increased 20 times than the landlines. The changes in telephone technology brought down the cost of communication also. When the technology have changed in the telephone, automatically cost also reduced for that communication. From 1995, when the mobile phone facilities were introduced for the first time, until 2002, persons receiving the call and persons making the call were required to pay. Actually, from 1995, when the mobile phone facilities were introduced in the first time, till 2002, the persons used to pay the money for receiving the call and making the call. Only a few people showed interest in having a mobile phone at that time, because more cost now. While receiving the also we have to pay. While we are making the call also we have to pay. So many of them, they didn't pay interest to get the mobile phone. Very few members only paid interest to get the mobile. See, this is a bar graph. Actually, number of telephone or mobile connections per 100 persons. That is also in urban and rural. If you see that 1995 to 96, in urban 4% they were utilized the mobile or the telephone, but in rural, that means villages, 0, no one used. But as per 1998 to 99, it's increased to 7, and in villages it became to 1%. As per 2002 to 3, in cities it's increased to that means 14 means double. Here 7 now, here 14. But the villages like that stay same 1% only. As if you see that 2008 to 9, it's gone up to 66, where urban, those who are utilizing the mobiles or the telephones. But in villages also it increased that, it's went to 9. As per 2011 to 12, if you see that use of phones in urban means cities, it's gone to 167. In villages it went to 38. So you can see that the change of communication even in the villages and the cities. This policy was changed in 2003. Before, actually we have to pay if we receive the call also, even we make a call also. But that's changed that policy in 2003. When we are making a call only, we have to pay. In 1994, somebody wants to call through a landline phone for 3 minutes, and the person is 500 kilometers distance is there, suppose, then the person has to pay 28 rupees. That means approximately per minute 9 rupees. In 2003, this had come down, that is to 2 rupee 40 paise to 4 rupees 80 paise. Means almost it's a reduced maximum. Many private companies, including the government owned ones, also provide both landline and mobile connections also. Even we have nowadays also, but many of them they are not maintaining the landline, only they are maintaining mobile phone. Private companies continue to expand their share in the telecommunication services. Now Jio, so many other, maximum Airtel and Vodafone, these are all actually private companies. They are continuing to expand their business. So that is also in the telecommunication service. Many companies are being established in India to manufacture the handsets. Now many companies were established to manufacture the handset phones. These companies are now exporting to more than 80 countries around the world. Actually, these are exporting those handsets more than 80 countries around the world. Means development is there in our India. The telephone or the mobile technology also came up with the need for new skills. Actually, this mobile phone or telephone, whatever it is maybe, we need more for new skills. It created new jobs also for young people to work in multinational companies. Actually, this telephone and mobile or telecommunication is improved. Automatically, it's created the new jobs for the youngsters and to work in the multinational companies producing mobile handsets, telephone booths, mobile sales. We have now mobile shops. Even we have mobile phones, even telephone booths before we used to have, and repair and the recharge top up shops. So these are all now rose up. Means these are all getting the employment when the telecommunication increased. Now this is the time to do the assignment, Nana. If you read, you can do that. Of course, you listen, you can do the assignment. Bye, children.